Hello there. So we have four new words here: arbitrary, efficacy, truculent, and peccadillo. So that's arbitrary. Let's start with that one. Arbitrary means based on random chance rather than any reason or logical reason or a system. So if you do something in an arbitrary way, it's like you've just picked by rolling a dice. So if you're trying to decide what you're eating for dinner one day, and the choice is between chicken or beef or vegetarian or fish or whatever it is, and you decide, okay, I'm going to do this by rolling a dice or picking a card, just doing it randomly. In that case, you're making an arbitrary decision about what you're having for dinner. It's random, it's based on a whim. That's arbitrary. So anything you do that's just random, there's no real decision made. However, if you decide, okay, I know I want to be healthy and I have the choice between having chicken, fish, or beef, I know that fish is probably the healthiest option, so I'm going to pick the fish. That is not arbitrary, because you're not doing it randomly, you're doing it based on some logical reason. So that's arbitrary. Efficacy. Efficacy is the ability to produce some result. So, what does that mean? Think about a drug, like maybe a headache drug. So, something like ibuprofen or paracetamol or aspirin. Aspirin and these similar drugs have a certain degree of efficacy when it comes to dealing with pain. So you want a drug that has a high degree of efficacy because that means it can do the job. If something can do the job that it's supposed to do to a high degree, that means it has a high degree of efficacy. So if you had some drug for, let's say you sprain your ankle and you want to take some drug or some medicine to help your sprained ankle, if that drug worked 100% of the time, that would have a high degree of efficacy. Truculent, that's our third word. Truculent means eager to fight, or quick to fight, or quick to argue. So if you have a friend who you're having a conversation with him and he's really quick to get into a fight with you, he's very eager to argue with you, that person, that friend, is truculent. It means aggressive, defiant, belligerent. They don't want to back down from an argument, and they'll just pick any reason to argue or fight with you. That is truculent. And our final word is peccadillo. Peccadillo. And peccadillo is a small offense or a small sin. So just think about being in school or being in church or being in some other situation, and let's say you're in church or school and you drop your pen on the floor and it makes a noise, and it's in a quiet room or a quiet church. That's a mistake, and it's an offense. You made some noise in church when everyone's quiet, but it's a really, really minor, small offense. No one is going to be that mad if you've dropped a pen or made a noise or sneezed, something like that. So a peccadillo is a relatively unimportant offense, a relatively unimportant sin. So let's just put the definitions up here. So we have the definitions here. Let's just quickly go over them again. That's arbitrary, based on random chance. We have efficacy, ability to produce a desired result. Truculent, quick to argue or fight. And peccadillo, which is a small, relatively unimportant offense. So let's just look at the synonyms. So synonyms of arbitrary: random, whimsical, capricious, unpredictable. You're doing something in an arbitrary way, you're doing it in a random way. Efficacy, So the efficacy of a drug is the potency of a drug or the effectiveness of a drug. You could also say productiveness. If you have a high degree of efficacy at your job, you might have a high degree of productiveness. Truculent. So again, if someone is truculent, they're aggressive, defiant, they're combative, antagonistic, all these things. And our final word was peccadillo. Peccadillo. A peccadillo is, again, it's a small thing, a small offense, not a big deal, a misdemeanor. So those are some synonyms of peccadillo. All right, guys. As always, when you're learning words, I strongly recommend that you take these words and you go and use them in your day-to-day life. So use these words with your friend, use them at work, use them at school. If you do that, it's going to help you a lot, because if you can make these part of your day-to-day speech, they're just going to be in your brain. I mean, when they come up in a test or an exam, or when you need them, they're going to be there. If you just look at them now and don't practice them or use them or write some example sentences down, you're probably going to forget them. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.